Today, let us read the second chapter named The Tsunami. Tsunami is a natural disaster. It is caused by the earthquakes under the sea. When it comes, it brings lots of destruction along with it. People, they don't get time to get ready to face it. It comes suddenly, and the people, they are not aware of it, but they cannot stop it to happen. But the animals, they are warned beforehand, they sense it beforehand, and they run towards the higher ground to save their life. To know more about tsunami, let us watch a video and we will come to know about tsunami.
The warnings are few. The signs are sudden. The time goes into reverse. A thunderous roar fills the air. And then it strikes. And when it is over, nothing is left. A tsunami. The word in Japanese means harbor wave. Japan has been hit by many tsunamis in its history as a result of its location. It lies across the edges of 4 tectonic plates, where most earthquakes, the principal cause of tsunamis, are born. When 2 tectonic plates push together, the resulting earthquake sends an enormous burst of energy up through the ocean, displacing enormous quantities of water. A series of waves expands in all directions. In deep water, these waves travel fast, up to 500 miles an hour, but only reach a height of a few feet. A passing ship might not even notice. But as the waves enter shallow waters, friction with the ocean floor lowers the wave's speed and raises their height until at landfall they can engulf a 10-story building. Unlike ordinary waves, a tsunami wave doesn't crest and break. Instead, it advances like a wall of water that crashes over the coastline and everything in its way, reaching even as far as a mile inland. More damage is caused when the wave recedes, dragging everything in it back underwater. And most tsunamis have multiple waves, each arriving anywhere from 10 to 60 minutes after the first strike, just when survivors think the danger is over. The deadliest tsunami ever recorded occurred in December of 2004. An earthquake off the coast of Indonesia triggered a tsunami that surged across the Indian Ocean and reached as far as the coast of Africa. Whole sections of cities were destroyed. More than 200,000 people died. Most had no way of being warned. "5,000 miles away, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center in Honolulu is on call 24 hours a day to prevent a similar tragedy from happening in the United States. Scientists monitor tremors and quakes from around the globe. If a quake big enough to cause a tsunami occurs, it is their job to alert the coastlines in the tsunami's path. The advice is simple. Move to higher ground, wait for news that the tsunami has passed, and be ready to deal with the ruins left in its wake."
Children, just now we have watched the video of tsunami. So now let's talk about the chapter. The chapter is about the tsunami that occurred on 26th December 2004. It hit Thailand and some parts of India, such as Andaman and Nicobar Island and Tamil Nadu coast. Some people were lucky. They survived in the tsunami. Like some people we find in the first part of the chapter, like Ignatius, Almas, Meghna, Sanjeev, they showed their courage and they survived. So children, imagine when the disaster happened, what was their reaction, how they felt. In front of their eyes, they saw the death of their family members. They saw their loved ones departing from them. They were not knowing what to do. All the people were crying for help. And the destruction they witnessed, they were in great shock. Children, in the people's hand, it is not there. We cannot stop it. But we can show our compassion and empathy to the people, those who suffer like this natural calamity. We must help them in whatever ways we can. So this chapter teaches us to show compassion to the animals and to the people, those who suffer from this disaster. Now let's read the chapter and try to understand. The tsunami. Children, when you read the chapter, you can see the map of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You'll go through it while reading. Let's start the chapter. Before we begin the chapter, let's see, before we read, a tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coast. Here are some stories of courage and survival. Did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? Some stories suggest that they did. Now have a look on this picture. See the disaster of the tsunami. The houses are floating. The vehicles are also there, floating there. See, these stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Archipelago means a group of many islands and the surrounding sea. So it is the story of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So many stories are there. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. The one person named Ignatius was the manager in a cooperative society in Kachal. Kachal is the place name in Andaman and Nicobar. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. So when Ignatius' wife woke him up at early morning, he quickly put the television on the ground because he knew that it will fall and break. And the family rushed out from the house. Second paragraph. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mothers and father, and mother's brother, and rushed in the opposite direction. So when the tremors stopped, underline the word tremors. Tremors means a slight shake. When the shaking of the earth stopped, they saw that the sea was rising, coming high. In the chaos and confusion, everywhere confusion was there, people were shouting, and there was confusion. two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother. So his two children, one caught hold of his mother's father and one caught his hands to mother's brother, and they rushed in opposite direction. They were separated. He never saw them again. Ignatius never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. So in this way, the family was destroyed. The wife and his children were swept away, and the other three children who came with him, with Ignatius, they were saved. Next stanza, paragraph. Sanjeev was a policeman, Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal island of the Nicobar group of islands. So your next story is of Sanjeev. He was a policeman in Kachal. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter from the whips. So here we come to know that he was able to save his family, his wife and his baby daughter. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Then suddenly he heard the cry of John's wife, John was the guest house cook. John's wife's cry he heard. And Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. Sanjeev went to help her, but the wave of water came and both of them were swept away. Next para. 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. So 13-year-old Meghna's story here. He was also swept away with her parents and 77 other people. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. So she was floating 2 days on the sea. She was holding a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead, but they did not see her. Relief helicopters. The meaning is here, helicopters bringing help to people during floods. She saw it, but 11 times she saw it, but the people of the helicopter, they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. And after sometimes a big wave brought her to the shore and she was walking there. And daze means she was feeling giddy. Next paragraph. Almas Javed was 10 years old. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Another story, it is story of Almas Javed. Was 10 years old. She was 10 years old and a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair. And her father was her father had a petrol pump. Her mother Rahila's home was in Nankori Island. So her mother's name is Rahila and her home was in Nankori Island. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. So the family of Almas, all of them, they had gone to Nankori to celebrate Christmas. When the tremors came, early in the morning, the family was sleeping. Tremors means already we know it says slight shake. Okay, it came early in the morning and they were sleeping. Almas's father saw the sea water recede. Underline the word recede. Recede means move back from where it was. So Alma's father saw it that the sea was moving back. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He knew it that the water will come with great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. And he tried to take them to a safer place. He wanted to save his family. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something and he fell down. While running, while going to the higher ground, to a safe place, her grandfather was struck by something and he fell down there. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Giant means very big, huge. Then her father, Alma's father, wanted to help his father and he went there. But the great wave, the huge wave came and swept both of them away. Next paragraph. Almas's mother and aunts stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree. Clinging means hanging. Almas's mother and her aunt, both of them, were hanging to the leaves of a coconut tree. They were calling out to her. They were calling out to Almas. A wave uprooted the tree and they too were washed away. A great wave uprooted. Uprooted means coming up with the root, fell down with the root. The coconut tree fell down and both of them were washed away. Almas saw a log of wood floating. She climbed onto it. So Alma was alone there. She was watching all this and she was in great shock. She did not know what to do. Suddenly she saw a log of wood, a piece of wood floating there, and she climbed on that wood. Then she fainted, and after climbing on the wood, she was unconscious, fainted. Fainted means unconscious. When she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kamorta. And when she woke up, maybe after some hours, she was in hospital Kamorta. Maybe somebody saw him and took her to the hospital. From there, she was brought to Port Blair, and from there, she was brought back home. The little girl doesn't want to talk about the incident with anyone. She is still traumatized. Underline the word traumatized. Children, traumatized means greatly shocked and distressed. The little girl is not talking with anyone about the incident. She was dumb because she lost everyone, her family members, in front of her eyes. She saw all this destruction and she was still traumatized, means greatly shocked about the happenings. So children, this is the first part of the chapter. In my next video, we will see the second part. Thank you children and have a nice day.